Hey guys, just another quick message before this episode. The Solid Momin team, we fully stand in solidarity against racism and injustice with the black community. So during this time, we'd like to offer our help and support their community locally. There's an organization called Black Food Toronto. They're a food sovereignty initiative that aims to raise money to provide emergency food support to individuals within the African, Caribbean, and black communities that have also been affected by the pandemic. So this is just kind of a little thing to help them out. There's a link on the group page for Subtle Asian Leftovers Toronto. You guys can go there and donate. We wanted to do this on GoFundMe, but this organization isn't on their platform, so we thought that it was just better to have the link posted on the group page, and you guys can go donate and all that. Every donation is appreciated, and we do believe that, as a community of minorities, we should offer help to other minorities and stand together, because together we can make a difference. So back to your scheduled programming.
You're listening to the Sad Boy Podcast.
Yeah, sad boy.
Yeah, sad boy, yeah.
Very, very sad. Very sad.
Okay,
I
welcome
clap.
back to the Sad Boy Podcast, and August
Sad
wants to
boy.
clap.
Welcome
Sad
back.
boy.
I can't.
Sad
I really
boy.
can't right now. Yeah, sad boy.
Sad boy.
So
Okay.
we have
You know why
a
you
guest
can't
this
right
week.
now?
So August is our guest for the week.
Yeah, and she's already making us we can't with her right now.
Yep.
So how are
Yep.
you, August?
Good. Great. Awesome. Amazing. Because it starts with A. Like
That's
me.
pretty good. That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you sure the August is the best month though?
It is.
Are you sure? Because there's 11 other months out there.
And that's why August is the best month.
Why? It's
Why
the month that's
August?
the hottest.
Yeah,
Everyone hates it 'cause everyone's
exactly.
sweaty. No, everyone's
Exactly.
sweaty.
That's right. The hottest month. Duh. Of
Everyone's
course.
sweaty.
Just like me.
Anyways,
Okay. Okay.
Are you cutting this out? Because this is like
No,
filler
No,
content.
No,
This is
no, I
like
don't-
filler content. You don't cut stuff out. That's very
Really?
unprofessional.
Damn.
Yeah, calling you out.
I cut when I need to.
That's like hella depressing. Take that out. Parental
How is it hella-
supervision required right there. Cut that out.
Wow.
August leaves us speechless. This is how it is.
I can't even right now.
Can you odd?
I can't.
I can't with August.
What can?
So this week's episode is
So, I
August
feel like
roasting
you-
us.
Wait, before I interrupt you, I feel like you should use this as like bloopers and like restart it so I don't start roasting
This is
you.
the episode. No.
I know this is the episode.
What?
We already
Like-
started. We told you.
Bro, no. You need to restart it. Be more professional. You gotta have a entertaining intro. You guys are like Timmy and Tommy in Animal Crossing. Lucas is like, we tried, and Lucas is like, yeah, we tried. You know how in the shop they're like, welcome, yeah, welcome.
Yeah, she's not wrong.
So am I like Tom Nooks?
No, you're
No,
not.
no, you're not.
So who am I?
We don't owe you money.
Yo,
that's for
can I
sure.
be Isabel?
Okay, fine. You can be Isabel.
Yeah, you could be
Yeah.
Isabel. Wait,
Yo.
is Isabel in the Horizon?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, she gives the announcements every morning.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's best girl. Wait, are you guys even playing Animal Crossing?
I
don't
am.
own it.
What do you mean you don't own it?
I don't. Own
Did
it.
you pirate it?
No, I don't own one. I don't
He doesn't
own
have the game.
I don't own
Okay.
the game.
Okay, so tell us the reason why you don't own the game when everybody owns the game.
because I want a physical copy not everywhere sold out.
No,
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure you can buy it now.
Okay,
Lucas,
don't
like
wanna buy it.
Russell bought his literally like 2 months after release from what? I was gonna say Rogers, but like where?
Wait, Rogers?
No, it's not
Rogers?
Rogers. Like that's the
Rogers?
nah, that's the word that came to my head.
Rogers?
Game Boy? Fuck, what is that store name?
Nintendo.
Nintendo?
EB Games?
Yeah, EV Games. Yeah, there we go.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if I do buy it, I won't be touching it at all.
No,
Why?
you'll be touching it. The way they made this
That's
game, like
cool.
you're addicted to it.
Wait, do you think you're addicted to it?
I don't know. Like it's not that like it's addicting to the point where you're playing it for hours, but it's more of like they make it so that all you can do for one day is like X amount of things, and then you got to wait until the next day. So it kind of keeps you hooked. So the addicting part is kind of like you're playing it a few hours every day.
Okay, what part are you at right now? Like, how far along is your island?
Well, I got the island design. I'm literally designing my island now. I'm terraforming. Because literally every day after work, when I come home, if I'm not working out, I'm playing Animal Crossing.
What about your other games?
I'm multitasking when I'm gaming.
So you play like 5 games at once.
Basically.
So let's
So it's
say
like-
if you wait, I'm gonna interrupt you. So like, if you were a fuckboy, would you say like you'll be able to talk to 5 girls at once?
But I'm not a fuckboy.
Okay, but like theoretically.
Wait, what does being a fuckboy have to do with playing?
I know.
Oh no, I don't know. I was just thinking
Where
about
are you
like,
going with this?
like multitasking, like like what's going through your head? Or do you just like do it, or do you like just like you have to be like, oh, like let me play Animal Crossing, or like let me play Arknights, or like let me play, I don't know what other games you play, but like
Maple Story.
Maple Story. If you don't know that song, like look it up.
Actually,
That is the best cover of Maple Story. Changed my mind.
Actually, I don't think that's the login song anymore.
They don't have a login song anymore, do they? I turned off
don't think
music.
so. No, it's not the login song anymore.
Really? No,
No.
it's like it's not Hennessy. What is that town? Is it Hennessy?
Are you talking
Hennes-
about? Are you thinking of
Hennessus?
like dun 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 dun?
No, I'm talking
one?
about Archer Town.
Yeah,
Hennessus,
Hennessus.
Hennessus? It's
Henny?
not.
Henny Hose?
Me and Lucas are Henny hoes because we bought NX just to play Maple Story. Or not just to
Wow.
play, but like we bought to like make ourselves look cool.
Is it to overcompensate?
No, we were literally just bored during quarantine, and then we just thought about spending money.
Yep. To be fair,
Wow.
we would spend more money if we were like to meet up and go drink.
That's actually very true because every weekend, whenever we hung out, it'd be like, I think at least $100 to $200 a weekend.
Yeah. And so far we've only spent
I've
A
spent
bunch.
more, but
a bunch.
Yeah. less than how much we'd spend going out.
Cool.
Wait, why are we talking about Maple Story? We've already talked about Maple Story.
No, okay,
Yeah,
but like
we did.
I wanted to talk to you if you ever heard of that song, best song ever. Do, 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 do. But like it's like a Korean guy singing it, and he's like super off tune.
Yeah.
You're gonna have
And
to
he's
link
just saying
us.
like Maple Story.
Yo, like Maple Story, like
You're gonna have to link us. I've never seen it.
like do 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 do.
Wait, is it this one?
do, do, do. Oh yeah.
I've never heard that.
I'll link it later.
Okay, yeah, link it to me later.
You haven't played Maple Story until you heard that song.
I played Maple Story for so many years. I've never heard that song.
Okay, well, you haven't been on Basil Market.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I haven't ever really been on Basil Market.
Anyways, that song is part of the login theme, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that. I don't remember any of this.
Well,
But basically, like multitasking yesterday, on Maple Story, I was doing like party quests with Lucas, Chris, and Elena, and then on my right screen, I had Animal Crossing, and then in front of me was my phone, and I was playing I think it was Arknights or Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, which is like both games I can just do auto and just leave it. So I was multitasking like crazy yesterday.
So like, what's going through your head? Do you like ever have like a voice being like, "Oh, it's time to like pay attention to Maple Story"? Like, "Oh yeah, like Party Quest. Oh yeah, wait. Oh, let me pay attention to Animal Crossing. Oh wait, let me pay attention to like Arknights or something." Did I say Arknight twice?
I think you did.
Arknights.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know, Arknights is actually a pretty cool game. You guys should check it out on the App Store and Google Play, I think.
We're not sponsored, unfortunately. Please sponsor me.
I have it installed,
Sponsor us, not you.
but I haven't touched it.
Oh yeah, Lucas has it, but he doesn't play it.
Lucas doesn't play anything apparently.
I do.
He plays Maple Story. Okay,
Story.
before you joined us, he was literally just saying that he only plays Maple Story and then he does schoolwork and he sleeps.
That's exactly what I do.
That's
Wow.
exactly what he does. He's back in like high school days right now.
Yeah.
Man's like Benjamin Buttons right there.
He's
Anyways.
Benjamin Poten.
That was so bad.
Anyways,
Like,
what were we talking about?
I just felt everyone just like cringed. Would be like, cricket. Insert Maple Story theme sung by that Korean guy.
Is August just here to roast us?
Yeah, he is. She is.
Okay, but like, so like the reason why I even like brought up all those like multitasking thing is because I came like upon this article and it was like talking about how some people have voices in their head and some people don't. Like, do you guys think that you have a voice inside your head?
Isn't that our conscience?
Yeah, I see it'll be like.
So it's like with like the multitasking thing. So most of the games though, I can kind of leave on. It's not like something I have to attend to immediately. So for example, when me, Lucas, Chris, and Elena, we were on Maple Story doing party quests, I was actually AFK in the beginning because I was busy selling turnips on Animal Crossing.
So how did you get carried?
This was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday,
it was
right?
yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, it was yesterday. So I was selling turnips on Maple Story, and then when I look back on Maple Story screen or on Animal Crossing, and then when I look back on Maple Story screen, I'm like, "What the fuck? You guys started the party quest already?" And I'm just standing there, and then Chris is just like,
Okay,
"It's okay, let him be AFK. We'll deal with this."
wait, like
I'm like,
pause. Like, did you say that in your head, or you like, what the fuck, blah 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 blah?
Yeah,
like,
I say
like
it in my
out
head.
loud. Like, oh, you like said
it's
it
in my head.
Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
heard
like,
yourself physically say it inside your head.
Yeah, or like whenever the mobile games, when they're done finishing like the battle, I hear the sound and then my mind automatically knows like, okay, that game's done. I'm gonna like start playing this now.
Like you internally say it to yourself, being like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that game's done. I'm gonna."
Yeah, but it's like a really quick thought in my head that just happens.
Okay, but okay. Oh, I just found the article. It says, "Today I learned that not everyone has an internal monologue, and it has ruined my day." So like that's what they refer to it as like an internal monologue. Do you have one, Lucas?
I think so. Yeah, I do.
So like, do you wake up and be like,
He
"Oh,
said,
like,"
he said, "I think so," and then the voice is like, "You do," and he's like, "Okay, yeah, I do."
Exactly. That's
so
exactly
it's
what
like
happens.
Timmy
He
and
also knows.
Tommy talking in your head as well. Like, "Oh yeah, Lucas, you have a voice." "Oh yeah, Lucas, you do." And they're like, "Oh yeah, I do." Like, is that what happens, or like, do you have more than one? Do you have
Okay,
like,
I think if you have more than one, I think you're almost like multiple personality disorder,
like,
or like just
it's,
schizo.
oh,
Having more than one completely something else.
so
I think
like,
that's like a mental health issue.
wait,
Yeah,
like
it's a
so,
mental health issue.
but like when you guys say it, like when you guys hear yourself talking to yourself, like, is it in your own voice? Like what?
Yeah, it's in our own voices.
Well, I don't know if it's like my voice. It's a voice. Because technically you don't know how your own voice sounds like, right?
Unless you hear it.
Unless you hear it.
We hear our voices quite a bit.
So like, do you have like an internal like narrative that
It's a
goes
narrative.
on being
It's
like,
a
is it
thought.
like so like describe, for example, like you were eating dinner and then like you were having a really good dinner, like you're looking at your plate, like what goes through your head? Do you go like, oh, like look, I have a piece of steak, I might eat that like first, like but like first let me cut the steak. Like, is that what goes through your head?
I'm not. That is not what goes through my head at all.
I just think you're making me hungry right now.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm not going to be like. I'm not going to describe what my actions would be in my head, step by step. Right? Is that what
okay,
you do, August? Is that what you?
no, like I like, okay, it sounds, I don't have that internal monologue. And like, it make it sound so bad when I say, I'm like, yeah, it's just like empty up there, but like it's not. Like, I just do stuff. Like, when I like see my phone, I just grab it. I don't go like, oh, like let me grab my phone and play Arknights, or like, you know, anything like that.
Do you not have conversations with yourself in your head?
No. Like, in what situations do you have a conversation with yourself?
When you're thinking about something, debating on doing something, weighing the
What?
pros and cons of something. Even
No.
right now.
Are you weighing the pros and cons of something, like inviting me on this show?
I don't think he did that. I don't think he did that at all.
No, I don't do that. I welcome all guests.
But like, you know, like what is going through your head? Do you go like, oh, I should say this next, or like, oh, maybe I should say that?
Well, if it's in the conversation, then yeah, my mind will listen, and then we'll start to think of like, okay, what should I say next?
So what should you say next?
Right now, I don't know. I have too many screens in front of me right now. That's why, like, no matter what, my mind will always be a bit not focused. Because I'm so turbulent, but I'm also so used to like not focusing on something for too long. My attention span is everywhere.
Okay, so like, more questions for you. So, like, when you read, do you like read in like with a voice inside your head, like when you scan stuff? Like, are you a quick reader?
Oh, so for reading, it's actually different for me. So when I'm reading like a novel, my mind actually imagines the scenes like a movie. So
Same.
as I'm reading, it's like I'm watching a movie in my head.
But like, whatever the words are on the paper, do you read that out loud? Like, or do you read it in your head? Or do you hear it in your head?
I read it in my head. I don't hear it though.
What about you, Lucas?
I read it in my head as well.
So you hear yourself talking.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
the words are going through my head, right?
Yeah. Like, would you guys say you're a fast reader?
No. I'm only
So-
a fast reader if I decide to skim things.
So then, like, what happens is you actually read in each word individually. Like let's say we have a paragraph, and you go like one word, two words, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you
Basically.
hear it like yourself talking it out in your head.
Yeah. But I'm also someone who like I have a lot of conversations with myself throughout the day.
What do you talk about?
That's actually a very good question. It's a lot about like random stuff, to be honest, and most of the time, the thoughts in my head are actually just I guess some people will call it daydreaming, but for me it's kind of like I'm constantly just thinking about ideas on how to write my stories, like different concepts and everything.
So it's daydreaming.
So
Yeah,
it's like
some would say daydreaming.
You're like, right, you're envisioning like
Yeah.
like a novel, but like you're like narrating, like, you know, like the protagonist has like done this. The protagonist decided that he's thirsty and thus will get a bubble tea. Like, is that what goes through your head?
Not the bubble tea thing, but yeah.
What?
The bubble tea thing.
Wait, what? Sure, yeah.
What like, is it the same with you, Lucas?
It's for me. It's just thoughts, but like not the bubble tea thing.
Okay, like, don't focus on a bubble tea thing. That was just like an example, you know? Like,
Do you want bubble tea right now?
I had
You
one.
want bubble tea?
Oh my god.
I had one earlier.
Wow, thanks.
Wow,
Yeah.
you left the house?
Where's mine?
It was to grocery shop. So yes, I did leave the house.
Wow.
But prior to that, I didn't leave the house for like 3 weeks, so I'm okay.
That's actually very true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
She told me how bored she was and she thought she forgot how to drive or something. I don't remember.
Yeah. I went in my car today, and then I realized I had a backup camera, and I was so surprised. I was like, wow, technology. Like, damn.
Did you have that thought in your head?
No, it's just like, I was
Did
like,
you say it out loud?
Did you say it
No,
out loud, or
I
did
had-
you say in your head?
I had a friend in the car, so I was like, oh damn, like I totally forgot. I just like told her that. I was like, oh, like damn, like I didn't realize I had like a backup camera. I didn't like, wow. Like I said it out loud. I feel like for me, like I visualize a lot of the things. I don't have like a constant narrative in my head.
Are you more of
But
a visual person then?
I feel like that's the case. So for me, like when I think about stuff, I like usually envision like pictures and movies, and like just I like envision whatever, like I almost like act it out, or I don't know, like it just like my thoughts, it just like goes like bam bam bam, like I think really fast, and like it's not really a conversation like that's like going on in my head where I'm like, like I should get some chips, or like, oh, I should get some bubble tea, like, oh yes, like that doesn't happen. I'm just like, I want it, and I just like grab it, but I don't say it, I just act upon that action.
But do you think like do you think that, like, do you want, like, do you grab that, like, I'm gonna grab this? Do you think of it, or do you just do it?
Well, like, okay, so from what happened today, like with my friend, it was, oh, like she was there, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, and then like I said that out loud to her, and if I wasn't with her, I would just like look at it, and then like,
But you'd still think
like,
about it.
no, I'm not like, oh, should I get it? It's just like,
Like I'm
and
gonna
it
get it.
like a Mac beach ball spinning, like, and then zoop, and then I just like act upon if I'm gonna get it or not.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's not really like like should I grab this? Is this healthy? Like am I on a diet? Like like is this gonna taste good? It's just all of that thought is just bam 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 bam, and like go, like I don't say it, and then I just think of it, and then it happens. I guess
So
like yeah.
you take action really fast without really deciding on
Yeah.
huh.
I guess like you could say I'm kind of an impulsive person, if that's the case.
Are you impulsive though? Do you think you're impulsive?
I don't feel like I'm the most impulsive person ever, because I'm not always like, oh yeah, like fuck yeah, let's do it. Like I don't go like that. So I don't know. Like another question for you guys, actually, I just thought of it. When you guys have like those narratives in your head, do you like, does that come out as a certain language? Do you like,
Like the languages of our thoughts?
yeah, like is it in English? Is it in Cantonese?
I can do both.
So like when you talk to yourself, like you speak in both languages.
Yeah. Or sometimes when my imagination is even like crazier, I can speak to myself in Korean and Mandarin too.
Say some Korean.
Where?
You
You're
gotta say
asking
more
why?
than that.
You're asking
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. It's an appropriate response.
What about you, Lucas?
Yeah, I know, but like she asked you to speak Korean, you responded in Korean. Why? That's not
Yeah.
really okay.
You gotta like say more. You gotta impress the audience more than just "Weh,
Way.
weh."
No, this
like
is
how
outside of my
that's what
comfort
it
zone.
sounds like. That's what it sounds like when you picked up a phone in Mandarin. Like "Weh." You know,
왜
like
그래?
what does that mean?
Why are you like this? Something like that. Why the hell are you
Something
like
like that,
this?
Okay.
It's like a more rude way of saying why.
Wow.
Or like, why are you like this?
Yeah.
What?
Something like that.
Lucas, 왜 그래?
Can you not? Why are you like this?
Wait, so Lucas, like what
Ragu?
happened? What?
He speaks Korean too.
So do you think in Korean too?
I don't think in Korean because I don't know how to speak Korean.
He can think in the certain words that he knows.
Yes. Actually, I don't think in different languages, even in like Cantonese or whatever.
It's just pure English.
It's I guess it's English, but like, does your thoughts technically have languages?
Like for me, I honestly like the more I think about it, I don't think my thoughts transpire to any language. Because my one of my friend actually asked me that. She's like, "Oh, do you think in English or like Mandarin? Because those are your two main languages." And then I actually gave it some thought. Well, not like talking to myself, but like just like paused, and I was like, hmm, like I don't think my thought ever transpire into any particular language. It's just like happens. Like I don't go like, like I should think in English because I'm like talking English, or like I'm speaking to people in Mandarin, or if I'm like thinking Mandarin. Like that doesn't happen. It just like goes like that, like 1 2 1 2, and then
I
I
think
just
it
act
just
upon
really
it.
depends on the situation you're in, right?
Like what?
But like,
Doesn't your mind just like automatically like switch that channel? So let's like, for example, when I'm speaking to my parents, my thoughts and the words that come out of my mouth, they automatically switch to Chinese without me even thinking about it. It
Yeah,
just goes to Chinese.
yeah,
yeah,
same.
Yeah.
like, do you, if you're speaking to your parents, do you think of like of what you're going to say in your head in that language, or do you like translate it in your head first?
Oh, this happens to a lot of like bilingual people.
That actually, so I think that is depending on your fluency, because my parents actually said like, oh, like when they speak another language, well, when they speak English, they actually sometimes think of whatever they want to say in Chinese first, and then they translate it and they speak in English. And maybe why there's like that delay, but for me, I can just like switch on and off. Is that what happens to you guys?
Yeah, that's
Like
that's
it
what
just
happens to
like the
me.
words just come out, right? Like you just go like, oh, like blah, and you respond.
Yeah,
Oh, that's not me, because I think for me, growing up, I spoke Cantonese at home only and English outside. So in terms of fluency, like for speaking, um, I don't really have much of an accent. But the thing is that my vocabulary for both languages isn't that big. So for example, I know, what this is in Cantonese, but I don't know what this is in English. So like a lot of times when I'm speaking to my parents, whatever they say to me, there's been many times where I had to like translate the Chinese into English and then translate the English
Wait,
back into Chinese so I know how to reply.
in your head?
Yeah.
Huh. So, like, I think this might be like depending on your fluency, because I feel like people who are fluent with a language, um,
Like
like
vocabulary and everything. Like, I don't think they need to
it's
like
not
go back and forth.
well, it's not really vocabulary, because I actually just had a conversation with my aunt earlier, and I know my vocabulary is like shit in Mandarin now because I haven't really had the chance to like speak it.
真的吗?
Yeah, gender, like speak it outside the house, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then like I just said some random ass words that like apparently I made up, or I like flipped the words and she corrected me, but I still said it. So I don't know if that's like depending how fast your mind goes, because for me, like another foreign language experience that I had is like when I was learning French and I was in a French camp, right? A lot of people like in French camp, they said they felt there was that barrier, um speaking French, because they always have to think about what they have to say next before they actually say it, since it's a foreign language. But for me, like after a week in French camp, like sidetrack, like you were only allowed to speak French. If they caught you speaking English, you're like kicked out of the camp. So then
Wow.
like 100% like French immersion. So for me, I was pretty much a mute in the first week, but by second week, I just started speaking like broken French. But it didn't matter like whatever I was saying. I was just using like I was even maybe making up words where like having really poor grammar. I was just saying it like it didn't matter, and then I let other people correct me. So I don't
Wait,
know.
wait, but I'm curious
Mhm.
though. How did you communicate in the first week then if you were like silent?
Well, I still knew like we or like non, like Elena's probably gonna be like your French sucks, don't speak French anymore. Anyways, like
Wow.
I still know enough,
Is that what
but like
Is that what she does?
no, I'm just joking. But like hi Elena, like anyways, um, so like the first week, I still knew enough, I guess, vocabs to get around that I could listen, but I couldn't speak it. Like because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like speaking it takes a lot more effort. Like you could read it, that's like input, and then like you take it in and you process it, right? Like same with listening, it's just one input and then you process it and that's it. But you will actually have to speak it. It's like alive. Like you got to have an input going into your side of your head, and then you process it, and then you have to think of a response and then like output that. So that's like several like additional steps than just like reading or like listening, right? So that's why speaking a new language is so hard. And so I feel like that's why when people are learning new language, they're like, oh, like I feel like I have to translate it first, is because that translation part or processing part is what's slowing them down. But for me, like I said, how maybe like my thoughts just goes really fast, that I didn't have that issue. I would just, oh, like here's whatever I know words I know. I just like vomit it back out and be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, sure. Like I picked up some words. I think I know what she's saying. Like, and then continue the conversation. By the way, I
That's
actually recommend people doing that. If don't like just like don't give a shit and just speak whatever, and that's how you improve.
that's true. Because
Okay.
it's kind of like you're learning something, you got to be thrown into the deep end to actually learn before, or instead of like throwing someone to the shallow end.
Mhm. Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
But if
So
you're throwing all those words out, does that mean you end up like mumbling, or is it just talking really fast?
so I think the part um that's the barrier, or like the barrier that, or like I guess the cons of whatever I was doing, is that perhaps my pronunciation isn't on point, because I have like listening isn't that strong, so I would have to, I don't have a like a very finessed distinguish distinguish that distinction of like one word for another, or like how to pronounce it. Like I don't really have that. So perhaps like, you know, like I could say something and I'm like, oh yeah, like that sounds perfectly fine to me. But to like a native speaker, they're like, oh man, like she butchered that pronunciation, but like I can still understand her. And that's where like I guess accents came from, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
Aren't you afraid of like being judged by someone when you're like butchering the words?
I mean like I'm not, see, like I'm not really thinking of that when I'm like speaking. Like um I feel like for me, once I get comfortable enough to an environment, I don't really think about that. I'm just like, oh, like let me fully focus on this conversation and just like actually talk.
So
You
you
know
don't
what
have a
this reminds
filter.
me of?
What?
Michael Scott from The Office.
Oh my
What do you
god.
mean? I don't watch The Office, so you gotta have to fill me in.
What?
So Michael Scott basically like speaks whatever's on his mind.
Yeah, and does whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. So
Like
August
he
Liu
doesn't
Scott.
hold back. Yeah.
It, like, is that a bad thing?
Well,
It's
his role was basically like the stupid boss,
it's
kind of.
funny.
But he's a
Yeah, it's funny.
boss.
Yeah, but he's like the stupid one. Like everyone thinks he's like
Like
he
no
should.
common
He's just
sense.
yeah.
So do you think that people without like a voice inside their head, they're less restrained, and therefore they're like they just do whatever that comes up, and therefore they are, that
I
people
don't
think, oh, like, oh, like they're really brash, or like
I don't think it's limited to people who just like have conversations in their heads. It could be anyone really.
Yeah. Cuz it's like when me and Lucas drank a lot, it's also like, our minds, our thoughts can be like drinking's bad, but we still do it.
hmm
So we can still act as rash as people who don't have internal monologues. But it also just makes me and Lucas seem bad because we don't listen to our conscience.
Are we bad influences?
No, we're good influences
True, of course we
To
are.
who?
To each other.
to ourselves.
Oh my god.
We're
So
good people.
Yeah, we're good
so
people.
speaking of like TV characters, I just like another thing, right? So you know how in like movies and TV shows sometimes they feature this one portion where um they do this like dramatic scene and you see like people acting and then like they like do like a voiceover of the characters speaking like their thoughts or
Oh
like
yeah.
speaking their thoughts or in books where they're like blah 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 thought like da 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 da.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like speaking of that, like I actually thought like this is done for dramatic effect because I didn't think people actually thought in their head, like had that process in their head. So this is like, oh, the writer just like did this because like they're using this thing to describe what's going on or like give you more insight into the situation. I actually didn't know this was like a thing that people have going on inside their head, which is weird. Does that make
Is it?
sense? So
Yeah, yeah, no.
for the longest time, like before I encountered this, I was like, oh yeah, like for me, like when if I were to be assigned an assignment, a writing assignment where I have to like write about like a story or something, where if I'm reading a book, like whatever I have encountered, that's always it's like, oh, like that's just a writing style, or like they're just doing this to give us more background.
Yeah. It's kind of like you watched You on Netflix, right?
I haven't, but I know what it's about.
Okay, so wait, you never watched it?
I don't watch a lot of TV.
Oh my god, okay, you have to watch it. So basically, most episodes has like quite a bit of like portions of the episode where the main character Joe, he has so many internal monologues. Um and then I think after season 2 aired, they actually released on YouTube this version of it where they removed the internal monologue and they just have the scene of like Joe, for example, staring at a girl.
Hmm.
So in the actual episode, he would stare at the girl, and then in his mind, there would be like an actual conversation going on, or not conversation, but like his thoughts are going on, like, oh,
Hmm.
this girl's like so pretty, like for example, it just keeps going on.
Hmm.
But then, um, in the YouTube version, they release it so that like when you're watching it, he's literally just staring at the girl, and you don't hear the internal monologue or anything. And this, I just randomly thought of this, but yeah,
Mm. So
yeah,
like,
because you were talking about like TV characters.
yeah, it makes sense. So like, is that what happens to you guys? Like, you have that internal monologue inside your head.
Yes, but we don't pause as long as Joe does in the show.
Yes, obviously for dramatic effects, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the show, like he's actually staring at the girl for like
Mhm.
at least like 5 to 10 seconds.
I feel like I have to actually say it out loud or like have a conversation with someone to like get that out, to have that like talk.
But even like okay, if you have like the craziest thought though, would you still like just say it out loud? Like even if it's like completely random or whatever.
Yeah, sometimes I do that. Like like I realize I did this a lot when I was like traveling. Sometimes like I go to a new place, I'm like, oh, like I just read out store names. I'm like, oh, like Zara, oh, like Mr. Big and Tall, like oh, cool names. So, like how do you pronounce that? Like I sometimes do that. I sometimes I find maybe people get annoyed by that. Like
Hmm.
because like when it's a new place, like that's how like take in things. I'm like, oh, like that's so cute, or like, oh, like did you see that? Like especially if I'm with someone, I will like talk to them. I'm out like, I don't know, maybe I'm driving them secretly crazy. I'm just like, oh, look, like that light looks funky. Why does that light look funky? Is it because it's like a funky shape, or what's going on? Like I will actually say it out loud.
You know, as you're telling this, I can actually imagine you doing that.
Like I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But yeah, that's actually what happens. But let's say if I was with like by myself in like in a foreign place, in a new place, I would just stare at something, but like I wouldn't really have like a conversation. Like And if I did, I would be
Interesting.
talking to myself. I'll be like, oh, like I shouldn't
Okay,
go
what
here.
about when you go to like art galleries though? When you're looking at art, don't you like look at it and think about the impressions of the art and everything?
I just stare at it for a very long time, and then if someone's beside me, I'm like, oh, like look at this. This is so neat. Or sometimes I just get that feel, like it's just like an internal feel that comes out. I'm like whatever that art invokes that emotion in me, and I'm like, yes, or like no, or like sometimes I just like an art piece just because. Sometimes like
Interesting.
it's weird because sometimes I'll be like, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. I can't exactly describe it. Like you can ask me like, why do I like him? Like sometimes the answer might just be, I just do. It has this like thing for it. I might not be able to put like to pinpoint whatever that that particular thing is, but I can tell you that like, oh yeah, this is interesting, or like something is off.
That's so. See, it's weird to us because like we don't experience these things. We
Mhm.
actually have those thoughts in our head. Like if I'm looking at an art piece or whatever, like I have those thoughts like, how is this making me feel and all that. Those
Like,
thoughts
do you
that
ask
happen.
yourself that question? Do you go like, how does this piece of art make me feel?
Sometimes, but I ask it in a much more like quicker way.
So like
But
you know
like
how
my
that
mind just automatically
you,
just goes like.
you know how that time
yeah.
we went to like the AGO?
Oh yeah, that was the AGO, yeah.
Yeah.
Without
And
me?
then
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
We visited you though.
Oh.
yeah, because you were at work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, don't feel too left out. We visited you, so like it still
Yeah,
counts.
that's true.
I
Yeah,
feel pretty left out now.
Okay, let's go tomorrow.
Okay, done. Let's go.
they're closed.
We'll break in.
Done.
Wow,
We'll riot here.
that's like partaking in an action without thinking. That's that right there.
We were thinking.
Yeah, we're thinking. We're
Yeah,
planning it
thinking of
out.
doing it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But anyways,
Everything we do is planned.
I know exactly.
uh,
That was thinking. We said it. We thought about it. So we're
poorly
doing it.
planned. Poorly planned. Poorly planned.
How is it playing plan? We'll break in. That seems like a good plan.
But like, how are you
With a
gonna break in?
crowbar. With a crowbar.
Yeah,
Where?
crowbar.
Which entrance? Which
windows.
door? Which window? First floor, second floor? How many floors are there?
The first floor.
Their
Which
whole
side?
first floor is all windows.
Which side?
Yeah. The main
Their,
entrance.
their main entrance. Their whole first floor.
How are you gonna use a crowbar to break into windows?
Just
gonna
break the
smash it.
window.
What if it doesn't break?
Anyways, yeah. So like regarding
I'll get a
our,
rock. Or we'll just stand there going like, why is it not breaking?
yeah, exactly. No, that's our thoughts. In my smash it once.
Talking,
Think in my head, why did it not break?
or maybe
go to
this is a
Fugo.
bad idea. You know?
Well,
But-
are you
We wanna
stopping
see
us?
art.
Are you stopping us?
Anyways, going back to the art piece. So let's say if you like when that time we went to the AGO, like there were a
Mhm.
lot of art pieces. What was going through your head?
That's a very good question. I gotta try to remember what I was thinking back then. I don't even remember what I was thinking.
Do, 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 do,
Yeah, I don't remember what I was thinking.
do, 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 do,
Oh,
do.
I think we wanted to go to the Infinity Mirrors thing,
Yeah.
and then I was busy looking for you guys.
Okay, but that's not an actual thought. I'm saying like at a particular art piece.
Well, that is a thought. Where is August?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm glad that you're thinking
Where'd she
about
go?
me. I'm glad you're thinking about me. Thank you, thank you.
I was lost though.
Okay, fine. Something more relatable. Let's say if you were eating like a really good piece of food, really good dish. What goes through your head? Do you go like, this is really good, or like what goes on?
Okay, so when it comes to a really good food dish, my mind actually starts thinking about like, how was this made? What ingredients did they use? How can I remake this at home?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three things that I mainly focus on when I eat food. Good food. You're making me hungry. Why do you keep bringing up food?
I love food. That's why.
You
I
brought
feel
up
like
steak, bubble tea, and now like I want to go eat again.
it's never too
Okay,
late to
look,
go.
you're just going to eat bread with peanut butter. That's all you're gonna do.
I'm running out of peanut butter. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But what
Wow.
about Lucas though? Like when you eat food, like what are the thoughts that come to mind?
Dear, like, so like if I'm hungry, I'll be like, finally food. Or if the food's good, oh yeah, it's good food. Or like, like depending on what it is, I'll be like, I could probably remake it. Like that's the thought process of like how, like if I were to remake it.
I like your first two answers. Those are very straightforward
It's
answers.
very like be hungry, be like very caveman, like hunger, satisfied,
If you
food.
don't really know me, you'll find out that I'm a very simple person.
Lucas is a very simple person.
Well, it's good. It's good. That's good. I'm
Wait,
happy.
Lucas, would you say you're easily amused?
Depends on.
I feel
on
like
what the
I'm easily
entertainment
amused.
is.
Yeah, I feel
I-
like August can be easily amused.
I feel like
because
I'm
she doesn't need to
easily-
think like this is bad. This humor sucks.
August, is
Even though she
definitely
criticized my
easily-
humor earlier, but
August
What
is definitely easily amused.
Why is that? Why do you say that?
because I can literally, because you know that example you said earlier when you're like, oh, I look at that light and like, why is it that shape or whatever?
Yeah.
I feel like you're probably amused by it, and that's why your attention went there.
Like okay, like maybe my attention span just very short. Like I'm like haha, like
like even your backup camera thing. Like I'm pretty sure you were amused in that moment.
yeah. At that moment, I was like, damn, I forgot how to back up camera. Like, but then like someone was in my car, right? So I was like, oh shit, I forgot how to back up camera. That's cool. And she's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, and we like laughed about it.
Oh my god. Okay, but doesn't it feel weird driving after not driving for so long?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Because
Did you find yourself speeding a bit more?
not
Yes.
necessarily. I
Oh.
figured, I realized what happened today was, I was eating in the car because I was really hungry. Guess what I was
Was the
having?
food good?
Guess Guess what I was having?
Bubble tea.
I was having a salted egg yolk cracker.
Okay, I think we're done here. Stop talking about food.
It's always about food.
Anyways, that was really good. I can describe to you the thing is like I don't think about it in the moment, but I like experience it and I can like retell you that experience if it was memorable to me. So like for example, for that like salted egg yolk cracker, it was like very flaky and it was very crunchy and had just the right amount of like egg yolk on top that was like a dried egg yolk, but when you bit into it, like the biscuit or the cracker flaked just enough that the both of the egg yolk and the cracker melted in your mouth.
You're making me hungry.
Yeah, you're making us hungry. You're gonna make everyone that's listening hungry.
So like this is like what I can tell you like after. It's like I don't necessarily think about like, oh like shit, this food is melting in my mouth and it's just like flaking at the exact right like time and it's like super crispy or whatever. I don't think about that. I just like experience it and then I can retell you. But because I was more in tune to the experience of eating that like cracker, I didn't signal why I changed lanes. Like I was I had more focus on eating that cracker than I was driving in the moment, if that makes sense.
So
Like,
it
my
distracted you
attention-
from your driving.
Yes, my attention actually went to that cracker more than actually what I was doing on the road.
Did you
So you
forget?
can't multitask.
I guess like it's more like where the percentage of my attention go to.
Did you
but
forget
yeah,
that you're driving in that moment?
no, I didn't forget I was driving because like driving is more like second nature. It's partially muscle memory and whatnot. But like, so
True,
there was
true.
no point like I could still hold the wheel while I'm like eating something because that's more muscle memory. But it's more so that my attention got diverted from the road and more onto the cracker, and that's why people may be like, "Oh, that's distracted driving." Like, please don't arrest me. Like forewarning. Anyways,
That is distracted driving.
yeah, that is literally what people say. Like distract drive because I
It was
didn't use.
distracted driving.
Yeah, I didn't use a turn signal, right? Like I just shifted lanes. I just used my hand and I'm like, oh, I need to do that, and I did that, but like my attention was still more focused on that cracker.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what happens in my head. I don't go like, oh yeah, like I should eat this cracker. Like I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat this. Cool, like nice cracker, good cracker. It was good. Like that doesn't go on in my head. It's more like I'm very in tune to the experience. I'm like, and then like after I finish eating, then like my attention goes back on the road, kind of thing. So that's what I mean by like I don't really have that thought going in my head. Like I don't go like I'm gonna like play Arknights. I'm gonna play Maple Story. I'm gonna play Animal Crossing. Like I don't have that.
So you just do it.
I just do it.
So she's literally the Nike slogan, just do it.
Yeah, I just do it. Yep.
Say, but have you ever felt like it's been a bad thing or a good thing in your life?
It's been both for sure, because like it's like, oh wow, you're so ADHD, kind of like you can't, like, where's your attention span going? Like I feel like that's where like people like misunderstood, like wow, am I really gonna say this on air? Like cut. Anyways, I'm like actually ADHD. Like am I really gonna disclose this on air?
That's fine. I'm ADHD. It's fine.
That's fine. Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
like let me call
If you did listen to our podcast,
yeah.
you'll figure out that we are kind of ADHD because our topics are very turbulent. It goes all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay. But yeah, like going back, like I was saying, like I'm actually diagnosed ADHD, so I feel like that's a misunderstanding that people have about like people with ADHD, is that like they're like, oh, like you can't focus on one thing. It's like not necessarily that. Like I'm very focused on one thing. It's just my attention span is I get bored easily. So my attention span jumps from one thing to another very quickly. So
yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's us.
right?
Yeah, that's me with ice cream.
What?
Russell knows this very well that I get bored of ice cream very easily.
Like literally in 1 minute, he'd be like, "Yo, I kind of want ice cream." He takes a bite. I'm sick of ice cream, man. I don't want it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like oh, like I just experience things like very fast, right? It's just kind of like, oh, like okay, I'm done, like next, kind of. Like if I lose my interest, it goes from, but like when I'm interested in something, I like really, really, really focus and drill in, and like I get shit done. But it's just sometimes I lose interest very fast, so then I jump from one thing to another. And maybe that's the whole like, oh, I'm thinking very fast. I go like bam, 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 bam. Like I maybe I am doing those thinkings, but it's just jumping from one thing to another very quickly.
Or what if you're just thinking so fast to the point that you don't think you're thinking?
That could be it. Like that's very like possible, because like I feel like I'm not thinking. I don't feel like I have that mental monologue. Maybe I do. I just don't realize that's what's happening.
Okay, because like I've had those moments because like okay, I'm the same where like I sometimes I think really fast, but I've realized I've had this issue where like I think so fast to the point that, for example, if I'm speaking like a sentence, before that sentence ends, my mind jumps to the next sentence already. And sometimes when that happens, my
You get tongue-tied.
sentence just like and then just jump to the next sentence or something, or like I screw up like the whole sentence at all, like completely.
Same.
Yep.
Oh my god, are we all the same?
Because
Yes.
I realized I do that a lot, especially like if I'm taking any stimulants, or like if I drink coffee, I'm very sensitive to coffee. I will get the shakes if I drink any coffee. So that there has been times where I've consumed coffee and I literally will try to say like a sentence, but because my mind is already on the next sentence and it's jumping over like ideas, like I'm like like sometimes I just like mush up words, and it's actually terrible. And people are like, "Yo, like what are you saying?" Like I have that 100% happen to me.
Oh my god, we're all the same.
So
That happens to me so much.
I
So
don't
there's-
get that with coffee though.
Oh yeah, not with coffee, but like
Not
in
coffee.
general.
Yeah, because I'm used to coffee, so
Oh.
like yeah, like people have said like you know, like I think that's why like so like the whole like thought process thing happens is because your mind is going faster than like the speed of speech, and therefore like sometimes like maybe I don't know, maybe like it's just skipping that part. It's just going from one thing to the next to the next to the next. So like it makes sense. I'm like, oh, like maybe I'm like, oh, like thinking about one thing and a jump and a jump and a jump. Whatever I just said there, like whatever I was trying to vocalize just there, it was like a perfect demonstration of whatever my mind was going through. I was like, oh, I'm saying this, but I'm already jumping on to the next topic.
But have you ever, like, if you catch yourself doing it, have you ever had like tried to like slow yourself down?
Yes, I've actually like it's terrible because especially the second you caught yourself mumbling, because in your head, you know, it's kind of like a 1-2 step and you're off beat almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, this is supposed to be the next word that comes out, but in your mouth is like, "Bleh!" Like it's literal like word vomit.
Yeah, I get
Oh
that
my
sometimes.
I'm more mind blown by the fact that like the three of us are the same.
Similar
it's just our
symptoms.
thought
And we're
process.
all the same age.
Wait. Oh my god, we are. Yo, mind blown.
I mean, it's pretty common for people to be the same age.
No, we just have similar thought processes.
Yeah.
Or like, or just ADHD.
Well, I'm like undiagnosed, but if August is diagnosed and she's telling us her experiences and we're the same, then I'm pretty sure we are the same.
Oh no,
like
I'm
just
diagnosed.
on a
Oh,
certain
I'm not.
spectrum, like on a certain spectrum, I'm assuming, like depending on like how severe your ADHD is, right?
Oh, my parents just think I have really bad attention span. They just think I don't focus well enough. That's it.
I feel like that's like a lot of people like that in our generation.
I feel like that's because like of just how everything is very fast paced in our generation, and we don't really have the patience to sit through a lot of things, and we
Yep.
get like we want to just get through things very fast. Like we don't have the patience to be like, oh, like I want this, therefore I'm gonna like actually read this book, or like actually work through this issue, or actually like sit down and work through this problem. I just like for us it's very like I just want the solution, and I lost interest. This is no longer interesting for me. Next.
Yep.
Yep.
But anyways, thank you, August, for coming on this episode, for showing us or telling us her experiences with not having or not. I wouldn't even say that's not having internal monologue. I'm starting to feel like it's just we think so fast that we just think that we're not thinking.
I think we need like a psychologist in there.
Was that
See, that's the word vomit. That's the word vomit.
Well, August technically studied psychology.
And was she doing?
I am 100% not qualified, and I am no longer in the field. I am like the furthest thing away from psychology.
Exactly. What's she doing with it?
It was a very expensive piece of paper that is hanging somewhere in my basement.
Damn.
Oh, it's in the basement too.
Yeah, I know like a lot of psychology majors that are not doing anything with it. So, yeah.
That's true. I actually only know one person that's actually doing something with it, and that's it. Anyways, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, August, for coming on. We'll drag you back on eventually because this was very entertaining for us.
Thank you for having me.
See you next week.
All right.
Yeah.
Part two. Make it happen.
Bye.
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 Thanks for listening to the Sad Boy Podcast.
Please remember to subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and have a nice day, I guess.
Yeah, stay sad or happy.
Yeah.
Sad?
Happy.
Sad? Happy?
Sad Boy.
Sad Boy Podcast.
Sad Boy Podcast. Good night.